Okay, guys, welcome back to the Let's Get Freaky podcast. Very excited to welcome our next guest tonight. We have got Marie Dumont with us. How are you? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for asking.
I'm very excited to talk to you. Now, you are the lead researcher and founder of the Mid Florida Research Group slash
Yes,
team.
yes.
I've been following you, I think, for a long time on social media.
Hmm.
Bigfoot, is one of my favorite topics. Absolutely love the Bigfoot conversation. So I'm very excited to hear your story, basically, your thoughts and opinions, and I'd love to get squatchy with you. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Let's talk.
So where does it all start for you? Where did this search for Bigfoot begin for you?
Um, well, I've been a paranormal investigator for over 30 years. So it started out with ghost hunting, which it usually does with most people. And then it evolved into UFOs and aliens.
Oh
So,
yes.
I've done that too. Sky watches, CE5s and stuff. And then I had some friends who were into Bigfoot, and I was like, I don't know about that. And so I went camping with one of my friends with a bunch of people in the Ocala National Forest, which is a hot spot here in Florida. And it was the coldest night of the year. Um, we were only camping for one night. It was a Saturday night. And it happened about 8 years ago. About 1:30 in the morning, we're all sitting around the fire talking and stuff, and we heard a loud and lengthy vocalization, just a whoa. It just went on and on and on. It was very similar to what a lot of people call the classic Ohio Bigfoot call. And but we're in Florida, right? But it wasn't that far away. It was maybe half mile, if that. It wasn't that far away, but it was only one vocalization, and there was no answer to it, but it was just incredibly long and lengthy. It took something with, a big lung capacity to be able to do something like that loud and that long.
Hmm.
So, needless to say, we didn't sleep at all that night. I wasn't scared. Um, I was more cold than anything, but still, when something like that happens, you're still like, what's that noise? Outside of your tent or whatever.
Yeah, man. That was actually a really good impression of the Ohio sound. Not many people can do that. Actually, when you did that, it sounded quite like it. That was
Yeah,
really
yeah,
good.
yeah,
What
yeah.
what was your thoughts of on Bigfoot before that night? Was you a
Well,
believer? Was you?
well, like I said, my friends believed in it,
Hmm.
and they were really into it, and I'm like, but we would go out um, into the Ocala National Forest. We would drive around and walk down one particular path, trail that I like to go on. And the reason why I like this trail is because I've seen there's strange stuff happen on that trail. I found strange things like this huge collection of X's and arches and tree breaks that it was about 30 feet long and it looked like a wall. It had a huge arch over it. Just it was gigantic. And then COVID hit, right? So that was March of 2020. I was laid off because of COVID. And here in Florida, they shut down the forests. Okay. So you couldn't go in there. So when they opened it back up, like in May or June or whatever, um, I told my friends, come on, let's go. Let's go check it out. Because nobody's been there, right? For like 3 months. So we go down my trail, nothing. Everything looked normal. There was a black bear walking down the middle of the road, just strolling along. And so we decided to go back a week later to look around some more. We went back to that trail. This time, there were five freshly broken trees one after the other, after the other, after the other. And then there were some little trees that were pulled off the side, bent over and pinned down underneath these trees. There was a big X on the left-hand side. I mean, obviously, something did not want humans in there. And they were just doing everything they could to block the trail. 5 trees, freshly broken and just laid one after the other. And then there's some
Whoa.
bushes that were pushed over too onto the trail. It was amazing. That all happened a week later after we were in there.
Wow.
So we got the distinct impression that they didn't want us, any humans, in there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
really cool.
Wow, man.
So
That
that's
is
just,
cool.
we've heard something in the daytime walking next to us, maybe 10 feet away. Um, but we couldn't see anything. And me and my friends, I was walking along and I hear crunch, 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 and I keep looking over. And I just stopped and I asked my friends, I said, okay, I just got to say this. I said, do you hear anything? And they said, yeah, to the left. I said, yes. Oh, hallelujah. And they were, all three of us were hearing the exact same thing. We were hearing something walk next to us, but there was nothing there. And this was daytime, not nighttime.
Whoa.
Just,
Was
just,
it like thick foliage or
no, no,
whoa.
no, you could hear it. You could hear it crunching on the leaves, but nothing. And it was only
Yeah.
like 10 feet away, maybe 15 feet, no tops.
Yeah.
But we couldn't see anything. Nothing was there.
Do you put that down to Bigfoot or do you put it down to something? I know it's difficult. It's
Well, I
difficult
don't
to
know.
know.
I don't know what it is. Obviously, none of us know what it is, but um, it's just, one of the things I always say about my theories about Bigfoots,
Hmm.
um, are, is that they probably have some kind of some abilities that we would consider to be supernatural, paranormal, right?
Hmm.
They can cloak. There's orbs that are seen, with Bigfoots. The shimmery thing, just being able to disappear, mind speak, things like that.
Hmm.
One of my examples is if you would have told somebody 200 years ago that, hey, I saw this cool lizard called a chameleon, and it stood on a blue box and it turned blue. No one would have believed you, right?
Hmm.
But until people actually saw it happen, then they're like, oh, okay. So that's a freaky ability, right? That's a great camouflage. You know, we don't understand
Absolutely.
how it happens, but that's just their ability.
Hmm.
So I'm assuming that Bigfoots have, some kind of special abilities.
And that makes quite a lot of
There's a
sense.
lot of, you just hear the same reports over and over and over again.
Hmm.
You know, I've
Yeah.
had I've seen two orbs. I've had two orb experiences 2 nights in a row in the same wildlife management area, but in two different spots. So, it's crazy. It's fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. How big were the orbs and what kind of color were they?
Oh man, well, the first one was the best one. And that one, I'll tell you the little story about that. So I had some of my team members, we went down to this area in South Florida. It's a wildlife management area. And what we would do at night is we would go to these camp campground campsites, like where people could go and have picnics during the day. There's like a pavilion and stuff like that. And so we went to two different ones. And so the first one um, was incredible. So we're just sitting around everybody's facing a different direction, and everybody's using a thermal camera or night vision or whatever. And so I have a monocular, right? And so if you've ever tried to use like, something like a monocular or whatever, it really um, dilates your eye, it messes up your eyes, So I'll like just use it, look around, and then I'll put it down and let my eye rest, right? So what happened was I put it down and I'm just sitting there in the pitch dark and I am staring at the tree line. And I'm looking specifically at the tallest tree there. Okay. Don't know why. I'm just doing it. All of a sudden, this gigantic orb just pow in front of the canopy of the tree. The orb, from my viewpoint, bigger than a basketball. It just pow. And I was like, whoa, what the heck was that? And some of the people I was with, they're like, what? And I said, turn around and look. So after it exploded in front of the tree canopy, it immediately went down to about the size of a softball. And it started floating. It started moving. And it was just slightly flashing, almost like a breathing.
Hmm.
And it's just moving along, and everybody's just like, what the heck? So we're just watching this orb move. Now there's a stretch of bushes. So now it's going to the bushes, and it's behind the bush. It's right. Okay. It's going to come out from the other side of the bush, right? So what pops out on the other side of the bush? Teeny tiny little green orb. Was not a firefly. There were no fireflies out that evening. It went from this bigger than a basketball white, bright white, LED white, to this teeny tiny little green orb. The thing is, that orb winter popped out from behind the bush, came straight at me. It got within like 3-4 feet of me, and then it turned a little bit and went right to my shoulder, gone.
Whoa.
So it changed into 3 different sizes and color. The first 2 were white,
Hmm.
but the last one was green. And I was talking to it. I'm like, oh, look how cute. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's coming right at me. I've never had a orb come right at me. And it did. It came straight. My friends are just watching this. Comes right to me, and then it just turns. It got right here next to my shoulder. Gone.
Whoa.
That was it.
That's wild.
Yeah, yeah, it
When
was. And then, like 30 minutes later, 45 minutes later, there was a huge crack that sounded like the cracking of a baseball bat. Just crack in the same area. And I was like, ooh. So, what is it? I don't know.
hmm.
But the area that we were in, there's been reports there.
Yeah.
The next night, we go to another campground, same wildlife management area. And we were getting bored, looking around. Nothing was really happening. And so I told my team member, Mike, I said, come on, let's take a little walk here. And I have my monocular, my thermal monocular. And so we walk, it's a huge campground. So we walk through this campground, and I look over to the right in the trees. It looked like someone searching for something. It was this orb of light, and it just kept going back and forth, back and forth. And Mike's like, there's somebody over there. And so I'm using my monocular, and I'm like, there's nothing there. And he's like, no way, there's got to be someone there, because it looked like somebody had a flashlight and they were searching for something. That's what we would do, right? Humans would do. If we're searching, we're going to move the flashlight back and forth.
Hmm.
And but that's what we were seeing was this orb just moving around back and forth. He's like, there's no way. There's got to be someone there. I'm like, look, I handed him my binocular. I said, look, there is no one there. And he's like, oh my God. So, same wildlife management area, but a different campground.
Interesting. And these orbs, how often do they get seen in like Bigfoot areas? You know, which is why the two things sometimes get put together.
Yeah, that's the only time
Hmm.
that I've ever seen orbs associated, while I'm doing Bigfoot research.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but uh, but that area is known for there being orbs there, being seen there. So
Hmm.
that was awesome. We saw it 2 nights in a row.
Yeah, man.
Well, one evening, team member Mike, um, just for the heck of it, he had these little tiny mini Reese's peanut butter cups. And so there was an area of the campground that had some wooden benches, right? So he was like, what the hell? He just put the five little mini Reese's peanut butter cups on the bench just to see what would happen, just for the heck of it, right? Next morning, we go there, gone. And in its place was a big mushroom with like a bite out of it left in its place.
Whoa. So there was a trade.
Yeah, right.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's what we think. So,
Yeah. Very interesting.
yeah.
Because as you know, in the Bigfoot world, and I say this quite a lot, and we hear this quite a lot, there's like camps of people, some that believe these things are just flesh and blood. They're
Yep.
just like a natural animal that we've not caught up with yet, which is possible. And then other people say that it's interdimensional, it's coming in and out of portals, and there's a lot of supernatural involved. I try and put myself somewhere in the middle because I talk to all sorts of different people with all different ideas, which I really like.
Hmm.
Where do you stand with that? Are you kind of in the middle as well, or
No,
what are your
flesh and
thoughts?
blood,
Okay, and
flesh and
it's just a science that we don't understand when it comes to the supernatural elements.
their abilities, right? Yeah.
Hmm.
So, when you talk about all the Native American cultures, every single one of them, they all have their stories
Hmm.
of these wild men, um, these people that they treat them, they consider them their own tribe of people. Now, remember what I just said, people. They're not saying a tribe of monkeys or, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
They say people, their own tribe of people. And especially in the Pacific Northwest, they're very open about talking about Sasquatch over there. It's very common. And the Native Americans there and stuff, um, they they consider them to be wild men, kind of
Hmm.
like Neanderthal, probably just a missing link kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
but like I said, all the Native American cultures, every one of them has a story about the same kind of creature. They all have their own names for them.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. There's like
yeah,
there's so many different names. Yeah,
there's so
yeah,
many different names, but they're all describing, if you read the descriptions, it's all a Bigfoot type of creature, right?
yeah.
This tall, hairy man kind of thing.
And
Um,
it's all around the world as well. It's not
mhm,
just North America. It's
correct.
Australia,
Australia,
Russia,
Yowie,
even in the
yeah.
UK, going back in like, there's still sightings in the UK to this day. But even going back hundreds of years, you had the wild man of the forest, which
Yep,
was always in like ancient culture and stuff. And
yep.
so it's always been there. They've always actually been there, you know?
Yeah, the Native Americans had to get along. They had to get along with these people because they were living together, right?
Hmm.
They were living in the same areas. They're all fighting for the same food and stuff like that. So they had to get along, you know? And like I said, they treated them like they were their own tribe.
So
So
do you call it skunk ape, Bigfoot? What's your favorite term?
what's what?
What's your favorite term for the Bigfoot? Is it Sasquatch, skunk ape? And I'm in Florida, skunk apes are big. the
Yeah,
name.
well, we believe we have both
Oh, you.
skunks and Bigfoots
Oh, okay.
in Florida.
Oh, so you think they're a separate thing?
Yes, yes.
Interesting. Okay. So going back to just what we were talking about, Native Americans talking these, describing these as like another type of human. Is that what you think in some cases these things are? They are just an offshoot of us that have
Yes,
just adapted a different way.
yes, yes. Going back to the Pacific Northwest, the Native Americans over there, um, there's a gentleman by the name of Thomas Seawood, and he went feral for like 286 days in the woods of the Olympic Peninsula, British Columbia area, major hotspot. And he talks about how they could speak this ancient Native American language. I think it's called Chinook. And he spoke to them. They would say some of those words, and he knew a few words of that language. So he was able to talk to them, like kind of like tell him what his name is, wanting them to tell him what their name is. And it's just fascinating. So doesn't sound like
Absolutely.
a monkey, but
Yeah.
all the depictions over there, it's it's a man. It has like a human nose. It's not flat like a gorilla or an ape, you know. It has an actual nose. It has more of a human type of face.
Hmm.
All the depictions, all the statues, everything over there. So
Interesting. I was lucky enough to talk to Ron Moorhead last
yeah.
week.
Oh yeah, did you?
And obviously, what a cool guy. But you know, the sounds that he captured,
That's here
the
sounds, yeah.
Sierra sounds, that sounds like a language. It does
Oh
sound.
yeah,
There's definitely
absolutely.
it's a language,
Yes,
and it's incredible. And that would imply that obviously these things are a lot more than an ape.
right.
In some cases at least.
Correct,
But are
correct.
you like of the thinking that because with a lot of the paranormal, with like UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, everything, we all lump these things into like one compartment. Do you
Yes.
think with Bigfoot there is a lot of different things going on, and that is like you said, the skunk ape there? I'd like to know your because I've always thought that was the same thing as a Sasquatch, Bigfoot, but just a different name.
Yeah, a lot of people do, and it may be, but um, based upon our research, so me and my team, my team consists of Mike Aguilar, Ruby Joe Brew, Christina Lawhorn, and Bob Schmeltz. We go around the state of Florida. So
Hmm.
we've been down to the Everglades many times. David Shealy, used to be on my team. And we're still good friends and stuff like that. So he would come with us and go research, or we'd go down there and do research. And but all the times that I've been down there, and let me start again. Meaning, I'm in Tampa, which is
Hmm.
like the middle of the state. That's where it's kind of like it's on the West Coast, but it's right in the middle, right? So anything south of Tampa, the reports are very different than Tampa and north of Tampa. The
Interesting.
reports are completely different. Things like um, the stuff down south, they don't seem to make structures at all. Um, the reports are a creature that's 5 to like 7 feet tall, very thin, less hairy. Of course, they stink. Um, they have 4 toes, not 5 toes, and their toes are long. Okay. But like the reports around Tampa and north are the typical Bigfoots. They make structures. We'll find X structures, teepee, not necessarily teepees, but lean-tos. We'll find strange formations of sticks, weavings, footprints. We've found just about everything.
Hmm.
But you don't find that stuff down south at all, at all. And
Interesting.
so, and it's 5 toes versus 4 toes. And they're more like 6 to 8 feet tall north. So there's differences, big differences between the two. So it leads us to believe we do have both in the state. The
Okay.
skunk apes seem to like water. They love the Everglades. David Shealy had his infamous sighting that he captured on video. That was July 8th. That's the middle of the summertime, miserable conditions. In the Everglades, it's all water. It's at least 2.5 feet of water. And this skunk ape is just moving through the water like it's nothing. And they've also been seen on the east coast of Florida, which there's St. John's River. The thing is about the St. John's River, if you ever go there, it looks exactly like the Everglades. So I can see that there would be skunk apes there. And another friend of mine did have a sighting on the St. John's River at around 2 in the morning.
Interesting.
And so we just think there is a difference.
So possibly a different species altogether.
Yeah, and we think it's more of an ape down there.
Interesting. And that kind of makes
I've
sense.
heard gibberish down there, kind of like the Sierra sounds.
Really?
I've heard in the distance on one of the trails, just well, like they're having an argument. It
Yeah.
reminded me of the Sierra sounds. And
Whoa. Because that sounds like a samurai chatter kind of thing.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Like Mandarin, right? It's that's how
Yeah.
you describe it.
Yeah.
Mandarin or something. And don't know. It wasn't barred owls. I know what barred owls sound like,
Hmm.
but it sounded like these two were having a discussion. But it was off in the distance, and off in the distance in the Everglades is
Yeah.
nothing,
Hmm.
right? I mean,
Hmm.
it's not like 5,000 houses around. No, in the Everglades, there's very few houses at all out there. And we're in these areas where there's, it's swamps. It's
Yeah.
all underwater.
Could you distinguish like two different ones communicating? Did it sound like two different,
Yes,
you could hear like
definitely,
different tones and stuff?
definitely. Yeah,
Wow.
like they were having a discussion.
Wow.
Like they were talking.
Because you've got the Stacey Brown footage as well,
Yes.
which I'm sure you're very aware of. In that is, was that near the Everglades? Is that right?
No, no, no. That was North Florida.
Oh, that was North
That
Florida.
was what's it called? It's near Torreya, I think,
Hmm.
Torreya State Park, just outside of
Okay.
very north, almost to Georgia.
Because that's one of my favorite Bigfoot videos. I know
Yeah,
there's a lot of good ones, but the
it's a very
size of
good
the
one.
arm when you see it reaching
His
is just
hand, you can see his
incredible.
fist.
Yeah.
When he's walking, you can see his hands. He's got massive. It's like the Incredible
Yeah.
Hulk.
Yeah.
What
That's a
his hands
cool
look like.
capture.
Yeah, it's a cool
Incredible.
capture.
But that kind of makes sense what you're saying, how these things might be different species, because we hear so many different accounts of these creatures, and some people say it looked more like an ape, some people say it looked like a giant gorilla, other
Hmm.
people say it had a man's face,
Yep,
and
yep.
sometimes not even that much hair on the face, like you could see like a human face, like you
Hmm.
hear accounts of that as well. So that makes sense that there's actually different things out there that again we put in the same box, and they
Because
might be.
if it is Bigfoots, they should be doing the same thing, right? Down there,
Hmm.
as they do up here, but they don't. So
Yeah.
that's the main thing that makes us, believe that we think we've got two different things going on.
That's very interesting. And as well, in different states,
Mhm.
there seems to be like different characteristics all over the US. Like Texas, they seem to be a lot meaner and you get a lot more
Yes.
aggressive accounts. And obviously you've got the dog man now as well, which is another aspect to all this.
Mhm.
Is that another type of Bigfoot cryptid that we sort of it's got a longer face, so we give it that dog man. I'm not saying some
Yes.
people that see these creatures say it looked like a werewolf, So I'm not saying what they've seen is actually a Bigfoot, but is it possible that sometimes we can misinterpret these things? And there's a whole bunch of different things out there, man, which is pretty cool for me. I
Yeah.
like to think
Right.
there's a lot of high strangeness going
There
on.
is. It's
Man.
fascinating.
So you heard that incredible vocalization for the first time.
Yes.
Was that like the moment that you were like, this is real? You know, these
That's it.
things are out there.
Yep. Yep. I was like, oh my God, they are real. I want to be the one to prove they exist in Florida.
Oh,
Florida's number 3 for having the most reported Bigfoot sightings or experiences in the United States. It's number 3.
really?
Number 1 is Washington. Number 2 is California.
Hmm.
But Florida's number 3. And
Yeah.
most people don't know that. Everybody just thinks, they're over in the Pacific Northwest, and that's it.
Yeah.
No, we're number 3. But we're
Wow.
probably number 3 because of all the development going on in our state, which, you know, they're building houses in these corridors where the wildlife, you know, used to pass. Now, poof, you put a housing development there, the wildlife doesn't know any better, so they're trying to pass through these neighborhoods. So there's a lot more people, and you've got the development thing. So people are probably seeing them more
Hmm.
because these creatures are used to traveling, not migrating, but migrating to another area, maybe for another food source area, you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
So they're just trying to get to this place because maybe huckleberries are ripe over here,
Hmm.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So they got to be able to travel. Now all of a sudden, poof, there's a housing development in the way, you know.
Yeah.
You're still trying to get to that area. So,
And the more and more we develop, the more you're pushing these creatures out into our
correct,
world, and
correct. Yes,
yeah, the more sightings there's going to
which
be.
is tragic, which is
Yeah,
tragic.
we want to keep the yeah. It is horrible housing developments in the UK, in the US, everywhere in the world. You don't want to see your forest knocked down. You
No,
know, nobody wants to see any forest knocked down. I don't. I know most people I would say don't. It's horrible to see. You know, when you've got a
yes,
beautiful forest and all of a sudden they flattened it because they're going to put a new estate there, and you're like, no, no, we don't want that. I know, obviously, if they've got to keep building, if there's more and more people, I don't know, but yeah, it is tragic. You know.
yeah.
Because I mean, the US obviously it's huge. There's untouched parts of the US that have been unexplored and stuff. You know, you could just go into the forest and never be seen again. You know, I was this is quite a while ago, but I was reading a report about this guy that just he went AWOL, went into the forest and was like didn't want to deal with any people,
Hmm.
and he said he didn't see. He went out and lived on his own for like 20 years. He didn't see a single person, or he may have seen one person, I think he said, in 20 years. That's
That's crazy.
wild. Like you can
It's
just
really
go out and
crazy.
just,
Yeah,
yeah. So if you've
yeah.
got a highly skilled Bigfoot skunk ape that doesn't want to be around humans, it can easily stay away. You know,
Oh,
if it's in its environment where
yeah,
it's the king.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They can easily hide, like the Everglades. The Everglades is like 1.5 million acres. And you
Hmm.
probably can't go to, you know, 99% of that because those areas are they're underwater and you can't get there unless you have an airboat. And still, it's so vast, and there's still so many places that humans have never been to, you
Hmm.
know?
Hmm.
And so a lot of people are like, well, why don't we find bones? Why don't we find a body? Well, in Florida, because of our heat and humidity, it only takes like 7 to 10 days for a body to fully decompose.
Really?
That's it. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, what chance have you got?
Yeah. So
It's
what
very
chance
rare
do you
to
have to be
find.
at the right place at the right time to be in that spot to find bones or a body before it deteriorates in a couple days?
Hmm. Hmm.
It's just that's why,
Yeah.
you know,
And it's
it's
possible that the Sasquatch, if they are close to human, that they bury their dead. It's very
yeah,
possible that
they could bury their
you
dead
hear reports
or
of that.
like cats and dogs. When they know they're gonna die, they hide, they run away, they disappear, they go off, hide to die.
Hmm.
They could do the exact same thing,
Yeah.
Bigfoot, right?
Yeah. It's very possible.
They either probably bury their dead or they just go off like into nowhere land
Hmm.
lay down and die, and then, you know, they decompose in a few days, and the vultures get them, and, the bugs get the rest, and they're gone.
Yeah.
That's it.
As you
So
say, if it takes 10 days, it's not a long time. It's less than
that's a
two
long
weeks.
time.
They're gone.
'Cause yeah, because of our heat and humidity.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You got a lot of wild stuff in Florida. I mean, you got obviously the crocodiles, alligators, all sorts, all sorts.
Oh yeah, the pythons, the
Yeah.
alligators, the crocodiles,
Big cats. You got big cats in the wild.
yep, the Florida panthers. We've got, water moccasins and rattlesnakes and, poisonous spiders and all
Yeah.
kinds of
Like
funny things.
Australia. Like another Australia.
Groundhogs, we've got bear, we have, I always say everything like down the Everglades, everything in the Everglades is out to kill you. That's the perfect description of the Everglades because you can't go anywhere with like, oh God, is there a gator around? Is there a crocodile around?
Yeah, it must be a problem.
Yeah, it's a, you don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did three, 2 years, 3 years ago, me and my team did a research study of the David Shealy video of the skunk ape running across the water, through the grass.
Hmm.
And he's been ridiculed for like 24 years, 25 years. Everybody's like, it's just fake. It's a guy in a suit running through grass, and that's it. Well, they don't know anything about the area. If you go there, you realize that ain't what it looks like. It's sawgrass. It's not grass. Sawgrass is very sharp. It'll slice you up, and it can be from 3 feet to like 5 feet, 6 feet tall. The sawgrass. When it dies, it collects on the ground. So then you got this padding on the ground. You got all this grass, the sawgrass on the ground that you got to get through. And then you got the water situation. And this in the video, the skunk ape starts out walking. It walks along the tree line, and then it starts walking across the grass, and then it takes off running. Now, David said he saw a deer earlier. He thinks it was stalking the deer because it was going the same direction. As the skunk ape is moving through the grass, it doesn't look down at all when it's walking or running. It's just moving. Humans, if it was a guy in a suit, we would be looking for the path of least resistance, right? We're looking for, oh, is there a hole here? Is there a log here? Is there an alligator here? You're like, okay, I can step over here now. I can step over there now. That's what humans do. We did 2 reenactments of it. During the dry season, we could not do it in the dry season.
Whoa.
Could not at all. And because we were doing the same thing. We were like, okay, where can I move next? Okay,
Hmm.
there's a big clump of this here. Okay, I got to get around it. No, the skunk ape just goes.
Yeah.
And like I said, it doesn't even look down as it's going. Now, like I said, the water was at least 2.5 feet deep. There's things in the water. So again, for us, we're looking for holes. We're looking for logs. We're looking for alligators. We're looking for crocodiles.
Yeah,
There's even
man.
sharks. There's even sharks there. They come in from the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America. They come in and they'll look for food. So you may have a shark. There's rays. There's like stingrays also that go in there. So you don't know what you're going to encounter. So you're like taking, trying to see where you're going to take your next step.
Hmm.
Like I said, the skunk ape's just going in this video.
Yeah.
It's just,
It's like we said that they're a master of their environment and they can
yeah,
move in it
yeah, they
in ways that
move.
we just can't.
Absolutely. He could care less. and he didn't even fluctuate. He didn't look down at all. And
which is so common when people describe seeing these creatures, and they say, "Oh, it moved in a way that was just unnatural." You
right,
know,
they say it's gliding.
it's
It's
gliding, yes, and it's
gliding.
gliding through a forest, which, as you
Yeah.
know, we can't do. Like, we can't move with grace through a forest.
Yes. Yes.
There's,
Because
uh,
when we walk, our heads bob, right? When we
mhm,
walk,
mhm.
they just like glide. Their
Yeah,
heads don't move. They're just like, it's
they're just
strange.
masters,
But that's the
masters.
typical description of Bigfoots or Sasquatches. When they run,
Hmm.
is or they're just
Yeah,
their head is just
smooth.
constant. It's like they're gliding.
Yeah,
Hmm.
interesting. Have you had a visual of any one of these creatures?
I
Have you?
have not had a visual face-to-face thing, but I have seen a shadow, a black shadow figure about 7 feet tall, walking in front of a bunch of cypress trees. And it just appeared out of nowhere, walked maybe 30 feet and disappeared. So it was very one-dimensional, but it
Mhm.
was probably about 7 feet tall. And it was around 1 o'clock at night. I was out sky watching with some friends of mine, and I got bored. My back was hurting, so I just turned over on the side, my side. So now I'm looking at the trees, and that's what happens. I see this thing, it just appears, walk, 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 disappeared.
Whoa! So you weren't
So
even on a Bigfoot scout. That was just chance. Wow.
yeah, yeah. And
Whoa.
I found in Jacksonville, Florida, which is North Florida, um, 2 years ago, I found a quarter-mile trackway of footprints. Quarter mile. They were 16 inches long, but there was 54-inch stride between each step.
Wow. That's big, man.
Yeah, and it ended at a creek that we could not cross. So we did a weekend camp out at this place. And so this happened Friday night. I found the footprints, but we couldn't see how many there were because it was pitch dark. It was like midnight or 11 o'clock. And so we're like, okay, we'll come back in the morning and check out the rest of it, right? So we kind of marked the prints. We put 2 sticks on the ground. So we go back to our campground. And so we had 2 campsites. One campsite, Ruby and I were car camping. She was in her car, I was in my car. And our cars were about 15, 20 feet away from each other. And then at the next campground, the next campsite was Mike and Chris. They were in tents. Okay. So here I'm in my car and I'm just lying there and I can't sleep. And I'm just lying there. And I have window shades up inside my car. So I'm laying there trying to sleep, and and then I start hearing something walk next to my car, and it was big and bipedal. Boom, 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 paced back and forth alongside the driver's side of my car about 5 or 6 times. And I'm like, believe it or not, I'm very skeptical. So I'm always trying to debunk things.
Hmm.
So I knew what it was, but I'm trying to, okay, is that Ruby? Did she get out of a car? I didn't hear her get out of a car. And why is she walking so heavy? And why is she right next to my car, walking back and forth? Well, so I'm thinking all this, and then it pushes my car. It pushes the tailgate where I was at. It pushed the car. And I was like, whoa. And I'm like, oh, that ain't Ruby, basically. But it disappeared, it stopped. So I did not hear it
Whoa.
walk away. It walked, walk, 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 pushed my car That was it. I should have heard it walk away, but I didn't. And it
Whoa.
definitely pushed the car in the tailgate where I was at. Why did it do that? Did it see me find its prints over in the other area?
Hmm.
Did it follow us back to the campsite and harass us? I don't know, or harass me.
Yeah.
So in the morning, I get up, I go over to Mike and Chris's campsite. Mike comes out of his tent and he's like, "Man, we didn't sleep that great. Something big and bipedal was walking around our tent." And I'm like, "Yes! Oh my God, I'm not crazy." So it must have probably walked around my car, pushed the car, then it walked over to their campsite, walked around their tents because they heard the exact same thing that we did.
Whoa.
So that
That's
was so all of that, finding the prints, quarter mile trackway of prints, and having the experience in the car and at our campsite, all
yeah.
happening within 5 hours.
Wow. And when you say put, you mean like real force on the car, like a
Oh yeah,
human
it
can't
pushed the
push it like
car.
that.
It moved it.
Whoa.
It pushed the car. Not super hard, but just
Yeah.
pushed it.
Which
Thing
is
was
very
though,
difficult to do, you know?
yeah, my door was unlocked. It could have opened the door if it wanted to, but it didn't.
Man.
Yeah.
The
It pushed
footprints that you saw, did you cast them? Did you get a cast of
There
them?
was no, oh, the ones that I found?
Yeah.
Yes. We have what's called, because we're a beachy state, right? So most of our substrate, our ground is sugar sand, which is like a beach sand. So when you take a step, the sand collapses on itself, kind of thing, right? So our casts, we casted two of the prints, and they didn't turn out that great because of the sugar sand. And it
Hmm.
had lightly rained right before we got there, so everything was kind of pitted and stuff. But it was deep. It was probably 2.5 inches deep. You could see a big toe. And but we did everything. We took pictures, we did videos, we did 3D scans, we did, we measured, we every possible thing that we could do, we did. And we casted two of them. And so it was an amazing
Yeah.
find. It really was. That's a once in a lifetime kind of thing. Quarter mile.
Hmm.
And so last year we went back to the same area and we found a couple more prints over by the water, by the creek. And so we're going again end of February. We're going to go back there again.
Nice.
Like do an anniversary visit,
Hmm. Hmm.
at the same time, at the same
Yeah.
place. You never know what's going to happen.
Well, you hear that a lot with Sasquatch. They seem to kind of come back to the same spots
Yeah. And
yearly.
so if it's around that area at that time,
Hmm.
okay,
Yeah.
then we have a shot, right?
Yeah,
Of
man.
hearing something, seeing something, finding something, you know,
Yeah. How often are you out? How often your team out?
every weekend for the past 7 years.
Wow. That's a
Hmm.
lot, man. Every weekend.
Every weekend. Yeah, someone
Respect.
on my team is out in the woods every single weekend for the past 7 years. It's
Whoa.
usually me. I'm usually the one that's out there all the time. And like Sunday, um, I went with one of my team members to a park outside of Tampa called Colt Creek. So we went on a hike there. Then we met up with a researcher friend of ours and went on another hike. And then we went on a night hike. So I was out in the woods for 12 hours doing research on Sunday. So me and my team, we are out there all the time.
Some
And
serious dedication for sure.
yeah.
I mean, it's great. It's great being out in nature. So
Oh
you
yeah.
get to be in nature.
Yeah.
So it's really good for you. So
Oh
that's
yeah. My soul craves it.
yeah,
Once you
absolutely.
go out there, and you start, taking a hike in the woods and just enjoy nature, sure, we hope to find a Bigfoot. We're looking for evidence, but if but I'm also looking at mushrooms. I'm looking at wildflowers. I'm
Hmm.
looking at cool plants and things.
Yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
quiet and it's peaceful and you're looking at wildlife, hopefully, and there's no better place to be. That's why I'm out every weekend because I have to be out there.
Hmm.
My
Hmm.
soul requires it.
Yeah. That's awesome, though. That's awesome. Because, a lot of Bigfoot researchers spend a lot of time out in the field, might not get a lot of evidence. It's very difficult to get Bigfoot
Yes,
evidence,
yes, it is.
and you can spend a lot of time and not get a lot. But
Mm-hmm.
to at least you're somewhere where you are at peace, and it's a great place to be in
Yeah.
nature, in the
Yeah.
forest.
I'm
But
hoping to find, a purple mushroom or a red mushroom or,
yeah.
animal bones or whatever. I'm cool with all that. I love
Hmm.
that.
Yeah. So has anyone else on your team had a sighting, had a visual?
Yes, yes. Team member Mike Aguilar, he had a sighting over an area called Weeki Wachee, and he was not a Bigfoot believer at the time. He had it crossed in front of him when he was driving down the road, so that was his sighting. He's had a couple others. Team member Ruby saw something do like a spider crawl when she was horseback riding. And so I have not had that daytime sighting. I've only had that black shadow figure thing.
Hmm.
And of course, what happened to me in my car. So,
Yeah, pretty cool sightings.
yeah.
I mean, experiences.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, technically, you could say you've had a sighting, I would say, with that shadow, because it's kind
I,
of
but yeah, it's
some
not what I
people.
want.
Some
I
people would
want the
class it as a sighting.
daytime,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
want the daytime close up kind of sighting.
yeah. The Patterson Gimlin film
Yeah.
sighting is what we want. But
Yeah.
yeah, whoa, that
Mhm.
shadow that you saw, was it like wide? You said it was
Oh,
seven
yeah.
foot. Was it
It was
like
big.
it
It
was
was
a
big
big?
and wide, but it was very one dimensional, like a shadow, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it was big. It was, I would say, like around 7 feet tall, 4 feet, 4 or 5 feet wide. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
big. It was big.
So there's not many
But
humans
it
that big.
looked like it did not look like just a human
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
humans are not that big.
Yeah.
This was bigger. So I do think that it was a, Bigfoot, but in what way, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
How it could be a shadow. I don't know. A
Yeah.
shadow figure. That I don't understand, but that's just part of the paranormal, the supernatural probably side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Even on Expedition Bigfoot, the show. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've watched the
Yeah.
show.
Absolutely.
Dr.
Yeah.
Marianne Mayer and Ronnie LeBlanc. They saw a shadow figure going
Yeah.
across the creek.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like, what is
Is that
that?
they caught that on video, right? I
Yes,
remember.
yes,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Mine was better. Mine was darker.
Yeah.
And but they experienced a similar kind of thing. This
Mm-hmm.
shadow figure. They're like, what is that?
A lot of Bigfoot activity when obviously you're a paranormal investigator as well.
Mhm,
It is very much what you experience in the forest is what you might experience in a haunted house. They're
mhm.
very similar. The bangs,
Oh
the
yeah,
knocks, the shadows, the orbs. It's
yeah,
all very much like the same kind of thing.
absolutely, 100%. Coincidence?
No.
Because you even get that with aliens. Same
Yeah.
thing. The reports are all the same. They all have orbs.
Mm-hmm.
They all seem to disappear, reappear. They can, yeah, there's similarities between all three of those modalities. So
Mm-hmm.
why? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Absolutely fascinating. Have you got time to stay and talk about your paranormal investigating?
Sure, if you
I
want.
because I love it all. As I said, I want it all.
Yeah, yeah. Ask me
So
whatever you want.
if we can go to the start of your journey with paranormal investigating, what got you into that topic? Where did that start for you?
Yeah, that started for me in my mid-20s when my mother had died. And I felt like I was going to have a nervous breakdown because she was the love of my life. You know, it's your mother, right? And so I'm just crying, 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 crying. I could not stop for weeks and weeks and weeks. I felt like I was going to have a nervous breakdown. And so one night, probably 6 weeks after she died, I was in bed and I was laying this way in my bed. And in the middle of the night, I feel the bed go down, like someone sat on it, tapped me on the shoulder, and said, "Don't worry, everything will be okay." And I was like, I didn't turn to look because it was pitch black anyway. What am I going to see? But that's the way my mom used to wake me up. She would sit on the bed and tap me on the shoulder.
Whoa.
And that's what happened 6 weeks later. So I think she knew I was struggling. And so she had to come back to me in order to help me. At
Mhm.
that point, after that, I was okay. I
Oh,
quit
wow.
crying. I was okay after that moment. So that's what got me into the ghost hunting, the life after death, um, you know, question, stuff
Hmm.
like that. So that then I started pursuing, doing ghost hunting for that reason.
Wow.
Because once it happens to you like that, then you're like, oh, there is something going on here,
Hmm.
something different. And I've had a couple other experiences with my mother throughout the years. And so the years later, I found out that there was a ghost hunting club here in Tampa. I'm like, hey, wow, really? So I would join the group, and the guy who ran the group, he made me one of his lead investigators. And so a friend of mine, not, excuse me, somebody called and said, hey, our house is haunted. Do you want to come check it out? So he assigned me to be the lead investigator. And he said I could pick my own team. So I picked specific people in the group to go with me to go check out their house. So we go check out her house. It's an area called Odessa, Florida. And her house, their house was considered a mansion back in the day, but now it would just be a big house, right? A two-story house. But back then it was, and it used to be owned by um, a guy who used to have a brewery company. And I guess back in the prohibition and all that stuff, they would he would have people come over to his house back in the day and play poker. One of those people was Al Capone. And you know,
Whoa.
Al Capone used to have a house in Odessa, Florida. It was his winter home. So he'd come here to Florida to get away from, Chicago and New York and stuff.
Yeah.
And he lived in Odessa. So he would go to her house, the house she used to live in, and they would play poker in the bar area. And if you couldn't pay your debt, they shot you in the head and they threw you in the lake behind the house. So her house was like incredibly haunted. You
Well,
name it,
that was a
it
spot.
happened.
That was a spot they threw people.
Oh yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So the owner and I became fast friends. We became best friends immediately, and I just loved going to her house because, like I said, it was going to Disney World. Something always happened. She's like, "You want to come over?" Yay! Yes, I want to come over because you never knew what was going to happen. Something play in my hair. I'd see something. I've seen a shadow figure at her house. Stuff would move. You see shadows. I mean, stuff was moving in front of us on the table. Um, like she's also a psychic medium, so she could see. She was somebody sitting next to you. I said, yeah, I know. because they're playing with my hair. But
Man.
I'll have like a glass of water with straw in front of me. The AC wasn't on at the time. There was no fan or anything. And we're just talking across this dining room table, and the straw is moving around inside of the glass by itself. And I look at her, I said, "Do you see that?" She's like, "Mm-hmm." She also had like spin chairs, dining room table chairs that spun around. Oh yeah, they would move by themselves. They'd spin around by themselves. Just it was the most unbelievable place I have ever been to, and it was a lot of fun. One night, next to the kitchen, there was another empty room. They used that room for all the kids' toys, right? So her and I are in the kitchen, like 1 in the morning. Nobody's up. The kids are in bed. It's her and I, and we're talking in the kitchen. All of a sudden, the toys start going off by themselves, one
Oh
after
boy.
the other after the other. It's the kind you have to touch,
Yeah.
and they start playing music or they start flashing and beeping and making crazy noises. One after the other, after the other, after the other, like something was just going through and just touching everyone. There was like 12, 15 toys that were going off all at the same time. And we just look at each other and we're like, oh my God, this is incredible. Incredible stuff. So, yeah, her
Man.
house was insane.
Well, the energy must have been wild there.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
people are getting shot and thrown in the yard. That's wild.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's going to be some
Yeah,
some wild energy.
I've only tried to sleep at that house twice. Could not do it. The second time I was there, I'm in the bed, I'm trying to get, trying to sleep, and something, bam, on the closet door. I mean, it was like somebody punched it as hard as they could. Now, what was cool about that house, remember, we're dealing with gangsters here.
Hmm.
There were little secret compartments in the closets that you'd have to think, 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 boop, and you pop it open, and that's where they used to hide the cash and the guns that they had. So there were like
Whoa.
little secret compartments throughout the house as well. So it was a very gangster house.
Wow, that sounds wild. Yeah.
Yeah. She
Man.
There's a access under her the floor of her house. It like there used to be a tunnel or something under her house, which normally there are not in Florida because of our water system. But it was all concreted over. We always laugh. We always say Jimmy Hoffa's probably buried there in our house. But there's just so much activity. She sold the house, unfortunately, but it was a wild
Man.
ride. It
Yeah,
was
I bet.
insane.
Where did the tunnels lead to? Did they lead to
No,
anything?
no clue. No clue.
Whoa. I mean, gangsters are
Don't
like,
know
what?
if it
They
was used
build
for
tunnels, they,
slaves or like the
yeah.
Underground Railroad kind of thing. We think it was used to move uh, alcohol
Hmm.
because because of prohibition, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they hid it there, or they used it, the tunnel or whatever, to transport the alcohol.
So the shadow figure that you saw there, what was that like?
The shadow figure was outside.
That was outside as well.
Outside, yeah, it was in front
Whoa.
of the garage. I had just pulled up at her house, and I looked over and I see like a man wearing a hat walking right in front of her garage doors. That's probably
Whoa.
one of the victims that were shot
Yeah,
over in the
man.
lake behind the house.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That could have been Al Capone himself.
could have been.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Whoa, man.
Who knows? Yeah.
So you saw the shadow and and the like the gangster hat. Like that, when we talk about the hat man, he's got the what's that hat
Yeah.
called?
I
Oh, I should know the name of the hat. But like the gangster Al Capone style hat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like fedora or
That's it, a fedora. That's it.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Whoa, man.
Yeah.
So with the paranormal investigating, how many visuals did you have in that? Has it always been like shadow figures or have you ever seen a full-bodied apparition or anything like that?
Um, it's been the shadow figure. Now I've seen one of the cool things that happened to me was um, I had a little part-time job at an old it excuse me, the part-time job was at a vintage store. It was a multiple story building. And back in the day, it used to be a shoe store that these two sisters owned. And one was called Catalina, and the other one was called Josephine. And the employees would complain. They would say, there's one of the dressing rooms they would not go to because the dressing room would creep them out. And I'm like, why? I go in there, I'm like, okay, whatever. They're like, oh yeah, we've had experiences here, blah, blah, blah. Well, my first day of work, um, I was doing bookkeeping, part-time bookkeeping. So there was a little loft above the store. And in the loft is where they stored a bunch of the clothes. And there was a little desk there, and that's where I sat and did my work. I had a little lamp, and I had the laptop or whatever, and I was paying bills and things. My first day at work, I'm across the desk from the girl training me, and I feel something poke my head. And I was like, oh. And she's like, what? I said, oh, something just poked my head. And she's like, oh, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. So anyway, so I start working, and being the ghost hunter that I am, every single time I would go to work, I walk up the stairs of the loft, and I'm walking through the clothes. There's a little tiny path to get to my desk. I would always talk to Josephine and Catalina. Hi, Josephine. Hey, Catalina. Can you show yourself to me? I'd love to see what you look like. Every single day, I said the exact same thing. And one day it happened. What what happened was, I said my usual thing. I sat down at my desk, and so I sat down, turned the light on, and I looked straight ahead, right in front of me. A foot away from me is an orb. Just appears, this orb. And it looked like, now this is daytime, orb. It looked like smoke. It was like swirling. And it just was moving real slow, about the size of a baseball. And it was just swirling. And it starts moving, and I'm just staring at this thing because I cannot believe this is happening, right? As it gets to the light dims as the orb is passing underneath the light. As soon as it passes the light turns back on, and the orb disappeared. But I'm like, oh my God, that was probably Josephine or Catalina, because I've been saying, I want to see what you look like. Can you show yourself? Poof, right there, 12 inches from my face. It appeared and just moved.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was cool. And so I told the employees that, and they freaked out. So it was all good.
Whatever. What do you think ghosts? I know this is a difficult question, but what do you think ghosts are? What do you think spirits are, in your opinion?
Oh boy.
Yeah, I know
Um,
that's a tough one.
yeah, how do you describe a ghost, right? I mean, energy.
Hmm.
It's just an energy. When you die, where does your energy go, right?
Hmm.
Does energy just disappear? No, it typically just changes form or whatever, you know. Um, I really don't know. Who knows? Like my mom coming back.
Hmm.
How does that happen?
Yeah. It sounded like you needed that, and your
Yeah,
mum
I
probably knew you
definitely,
needed
it was
that, and
like a form of closure.
yeah.
She knew I needed that, and I did need that
Hmm.
because that helped me.
Yeah, that's special, man.
get back to normal. And but the ghost hunting has been a lot of fun. I still do it if I can, you know.
Yeah.
It's just getting harder and harder to find haunted places
Mm-hmm.
to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of places now charge money for ghost hunts. And, you know, before you could just say, hey, I'll check out your place. And they're like, okay. Now, because of all the TV shows and stuff, they want $1,000, $500. And,
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you're in the forest, you're hunting something better than ghosts. You're looking for Bigfoot. I mean, I'm not saying better than ghosts. Ghosts are great. Don't get me wrong.
Very different, but yeah, I
Different kind
enjoy
of
all of it.
paranormal.
I
Yeah.
enjoy all of it, whether it's ghost hunting or, you know, aliens, UFOs, and you know, Bigfoot. I love it all. I love
Yeah.
it all. But my
Absolutely.
primary um is Bigfoot
Right now it's Bigfoot. Yeah. I've got to ask you about UFOs. Have you seen UFOs?
too. I've
Let's
seen
go. If you've got time, can we hear about that?
it.
If you don't mind.
People are gonna think I'm weird. Come
No,
on, you
not
have
on this show,
time?
they won't. Not on this
No.
show, they will not.
Oh yeah, they will. First of all, I'm going to put a disclaimer out there. I am not a woo woo investigator. I am not looking for, like when I'm Bigfooting,
Hmm.
I'm not looking for paranormal stuff, but paranormal stuff has happened.
Hmm.
I've heard my name called on an EVP during an EVP. Like somebody had a recorder while we're out Bigfooting.
Oh, why use Bigfoot in?
Yeah. And I heard Marie. Something was saying Marie on the
Whoa.
recorder.
Did you recognize a voice? Was it a voice you knew, or was
It
it
was a
a?
woman. Don't know. It sounded like a woman. Don't know what it was. Um, I've had all kinds of crazy stuff while Bigfooting. So,
Yeah.
but believe me, when I'm doing Bigfoot research, I'm doing Bigfoot research.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
even though I'm a paranormal investigator, I'm not trying to, you know, I'm not carrying around tri-field meters and all that stuff.
Hmm.
We have them, but I'm not looking for that. But things happen. And for any Bigfoot researcher that says, oh, I never have anything paranormal happen to me, they're lying
Hmm.
because there's stuff. There is so much stuff that happens out there.
Yeah.
And people just dismiss it. They see things, oh, it's just, you know, my eyes playing tricks on me. Or one night we were doing a night um, Bigfoot investigation, but basically we were just sitting in a circle in chairs, looking different directions. This is in the Green Swamp. This is a whole different area. And I had some paranormal, like the cat toys, the ones that light up if you touch them.
Hmm.
They're like cat balls or whatever. I had those out on the ground and just talking. And I'm just talking to them. Okay, if there's anybody here, you know, I'd love to see you. Can you touch the, you know, the toys? They'll light up if you touch them, blah, blah, blah. And some of them did go off. Um, but one of the cool things were now again, we've got thermal and night vision. We on film later on, we saw something going across the screen. Something was thrown at us and it was captured on film. We didn't see what it was. We heard it hit a backpack and it fell and hit the ground. So we heard thunk and thunk. Um, but how close do you have to be to throw something this big?
Hmm.
A stick that big, 4 inches.
Which happens a lot with Bigfoot researchers.
Yeah. So
That
we've got our thermals and our night visions. We don't
yeah.
see anything. But how close do you have to be to throw something that tiny?
Hmm.
You have to be pretty close.
Yeah.
I don't care how strong you are. It's difficult to throw something that, like a little tiny stick that big.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
And this
hard. You
stick was
can't normally get
unique.
a lot of, yeah.
This stick was unique. It had all the bark taken off of it, so it was almost whitish in color.
Hmm.
We thought it was a bone originally thrown across the thrown at us, but it ended up being the stick. And I have the stick. I kept it as a souvenir. But anyway,
Yeah.
going back. So I just want to say we're not looking for these
Hmm.
things. These
Yeah.
things just
It
happen,
happens. Yeah.
you know.
Which is it's undeniable that these things
Yeah.
happen when you're out
So
in the forest and yeah.
UFOs. So one of my other friends, we used to do sky watches all the time in her backyard. She had a pool area with patio, screen-in patio, and we would line up her. It would be me, her husband, and my friend. So we would just line up next to each other in our lounge chair. So we're facing east, and we're just doing a sky watch, just watching and talking and stuff. All of a sudden, to our left, maybe 20 feet away, this light appears, and it's like orangey, gold, orangey color. It's kind of oval shape. It flashes. 1, 2, 3, poof. It goes right directly in front of us. We didn't even see it move. Okay, it moved that fast. It flashed. 1, 2, gone. And we're like, oh, where did it go? Where did it go? So remember, it was over to the left, then it went to the center. So now we're looking to the right, right? Nothing. All of a sudden, this thing comes flying. This light flies in, stops, flashes once, disappears. When it flew in, it looked like there was a little trail of fire behind it. Like it skidded to a stop. Flashed once, gone, disappeared, just gone. And we're
Whoa.
like, whoa, what was that? Just think about this now. There was 3 of us. It flashed 3, 2, 1. So it basically counted us. It counted us backwards, but it counted us. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then 1. Crazy, right?
Interesting. Yeah.
Crazy.
How can this difficult, but how big would you say that was?
Um, because it was oval shaped. Like a street light,
Okay.
a street light maybe
How,
size,
how
but it
close
we're
did
like
that get
20
to
feet
you
away.
guys? 20
Huh?
feet away.
It was
Wow.
20 feet away. It was right in front of the trees.
Yeah.
Now remember, we're in a pool enclosure, screened-in enclosure patio,
Hmm.
and then it was right in front of us on the other side of the screen. So this is all outside the screen. It happens here, then it moved there, and then it was over her house. And so both of my UFO sightings have been at her house. The second sighting was a couple of years later. We're doing the same thing. We're doing a sky watch, and we're, you know, just getting in our seats and getting adjusted, getting the pillows. My friend was in the house, so it was me and her husband. And so when we do sky watches and stuff like that, he's got incredible eyesight. I mean, he could see a gnat, you know, a gnat fart. That's how good. We call him Eagle Eye, right? Because he could spot everything before we do. So I'm getting ready and I look up and I'm like, what is, I'm like, oh my God, what is that? So maybe, maybe 500 feet above their house, there's a V formation. It's a V like line, like the Phoenix lights.
Hmm.
It looks like it's
But,
a
but
chevron shape
yeah.
of lights, but they were like dim. It's not like illuminating lights. It was just very dim lights. So I'm like, look. I said, oh my God, what's that? And he's like, what? Where? What? I'm like, how do you not see this? This is big. This is flying over their house. Totally silent, maybe 500 feet up. It's just gliding. He didn't see it. How do you not see that? Well, some people claim that they show themselves to who they want to show themselves to. Okay.
Hmm.
And so I was just like, maybe I didn't see what I saw. Maybe it was a formation of birds. Well, if there's birds flying at night, you're going to see wings, right? There was no movement. It was perfect chevron shape of lights. There was like
Whoa.
six lights on each side, kind of thing, right? So now I'm doubting myself because he didn't see it. I'm totally doubting myself. I'm like, it had to be freaking birds. But how? There was no movement of, birds with wings and stuff. So probably 2 weeks later, I got on the MUFON network, the Mutual UFO Network database. I went onto their site just to see what has been reported recently, just for the heck of it, right? Sure enough, same day, 3 minutes after I saw mine was like 9 o'clock. Someone else reported seeing the exact same thing at 9:03 p.m. They were a husband and a wife were in West Palm Beach, and they saw this thing fly over them. They
Whoa.
described it exactly the same. So when it went over her house, it was headed south, right? So
Hmm.
then it must cut across the state over West Palm Beach. So yeah, 3 minutes later, these
Wow.
people on the other coast saw the exact same thing. They described it exactly the same. And I'm like, oh, I feel so much better now. I'm not crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not crazy.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Do you think that was one craft, or do you think that was possibly
One.
a formation? Oh, okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
And you
Yeah.
couldn't hear this. This was just
No,
a.
pure silent. And neither one of them, of my UFO sightings, there's been absolutely no sound at all.
Hmm.
Nothing. Nothing except light, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah. So just strange it was at the same place. Now, um, when I described my sighting to my friend who was in the house, they have seen that exact same craft probably 5, 10 years earlier. They
Okay.
saw the exact same thing, and she's a painter. She actually painted it when she saw it. So she showed me the picture, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I saw.
Whoa, that's
Yeah.
cool.
So they had seen it years ago, but maybe it just showed itself to me this time, but
Yeah.
not them.
And
I don't
how big was that roughly?
know. Bigger than her house. So,
Whoa.
so I don't know.
So possibly maybe some sort of mothership, something like that. Maybe.
Not necessarily like a mothership. It was just a craft. It was
Hmm.
just seemed to be like by itself, just cruising along. I wouldn't describe it as a mothership, but
Yeah. I just like that term.
how big is a house? A house is usually, you know, I don't know about the dimensions of a house, 50 by, something. I don't know, maybe about 75 to 100 feet.
Yeah. So it's
So
quite big. It's
it's
quite
pretty
big.
big,
Yeah.
but
Depending on how low it is. That's
yeah,
wild.
yeah. So I just felt so much better when I found that report. So
Hmm.
now
Hmm.
I'm not crazy. There's somebody else who had the exact same sighting as me 3 minutes later.
Yeah. Yeah. It is interesting because of like with going back to comparing this to like the paranormal.
Mhm.
Some people do see things that other people don't see.
Correct.
You know, that happens. It happened in my family. When I was a kid, I saw a ghost in my room or entity, whatever you want to call it, in my room. My mum came in, I could still see him, but she couldn't see him. And he was there like solid form. You know, there was something in my room. So that happens, man. That happens with the paranormal. For whatever reason, in that moment, I don't know why it is, but for some people, I don't know, the stars align and they get the glimpse of the other side or whatever it is. It
Exactly.
is. It's a
Exactly.
wild world.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's fun. It's so crazy.
Hmm.
It's so
But it is
crazy. I can't
fascinating.
imagine my life without having, Bigfoot or the paranormal in my world, you
Hmm.
know? My life would be so freaking boring.
Yeah.
So it's so much more exciting with all this going on there, And
I don't know how everyone doesn't love it, to be honest. I think most people do. Even skeptics, they love it as well, I believe.
and then there's those people who watch too many horror movies, so they're scared. Ooh, the ghost is gonna kill me. Really? Okay.
Hmm.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So they get all scared about everything because they watch too many movies, and it's not scary at all.
Yeah.
It's just people should embrace it and find it fascinating. Life after death, and just the mystery of what else is out there. It's
Yeah.
awesome. It's
It
fun.
is awesome. There is so much.
It doesn't scare me at all. So,
Yeah.
mhm.
We'll see if we get the answers. I hope we get the answers. I'm not sure if we can in this life, in this
I'm
realm,
gonna
but
try. I'm
we're
gonna
having
keep
fun
trying.
trying.
Yeah, I'm gonna
It's for
keep
sure.
trying. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm gonna do because I love
Yeah. No, it's great.
it.
Marie, I have loved talking to you tonight. Thank
Oh
you
yeah, me
so
too.
much for your time. I'm hoping it's the first of many. I'd love to talk
Yes,
to you again. I'd love to talk
anytime.
to other people in your team if they'd be interested in
Yes,
talking.
yes, I'd
Um,
love to have Mike on the show with me.
yeah, that'd be cool. Let's do it. That'd
Yeah,
be
if we can,
cool.
if you don't mind having Mike.
Absolutely. That'd be amazing. Let's do it soon.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you very much. Do you want to
Thank
tell the listeners where they can find you?
Okay. So, my name is Marie Dumont, and I'm the founder of the Mid Florida Bigfoot Research Group, which you could find on Facebook. I have a very large group of over 11,000 followers, members. And then I have a website, midfloridabigfoot.com, and there you can go to the research gallery tab and you can see some of the crazy stuff we're finding in Florida. It's photographs and stuff. Um, I also have a YouTube channel, Mid Florida Bigfoot, and there I post short research videos of interesting things that we find while out in the field. We're not going to bore you with, I'm walking in the woods for 40 minutes talking about how great and wonderful I am. No, my approach is I want to show you something specifically and why. Um, so I got Instagram, YouTube, website, and Facebook. So that's
Awesome.
where you
But
can
it's
find
absolutely
me.
awesome. I'm following you on there and you put some great stuff on there. I will share the links of all of that in the show description so people can go right now. Thank you so much. I thought that was fascinating what you said about the skunk ape being possibly a different creature to
Yes, yes.
Bigfoot. I've not heard that concept before, and that's very
Yeah, most
interesting.
people don't. Most
Yeah,
people don't. But when you really look at the reports and stuff, totally
yeah.
different from one another. Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Mhm.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, share it where you can. That is a great way to support the podcast. And we'll be back very soon for more freaky conversations. In the meantime, stay safe and keep it freaky. Bye for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.